What's up, guys? Welcome back to Inside the Lines. Happy Tuesday. We got some baseball for you today. We got some NBA for you as well. Happy to answer all the questions you guys have, as always. Going to bring in the boys. We'll take a look at Monday. Profitable day in the NBA. I seem to somehow pick the wrong two player props to bet myself, but nonetheless, happy for a profitable day overall for the guys.
Yeah, we never complain about that. And I'm in the exact same position, the exact same location, because I'm on a nice little 3 straight days of profits. I don't change anything.
Yeah, and Jay came into the office for us today. And
yeah,
even here.
Yeah. The look Mackenzie had on her face when I was walking out at 1:30. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah,
I don't change.
Steven heard I was coming in, so he had to leave. So
yeah,
I had to take over his office right now.
The ego is so big.
Yes, it is. All right. Well, before we get into tonight's games, we've been talking about, the Final Four, snipping away at it as we have. A popular tweet that came up talking about win probability for NC State in this run that they've been on. And we did crunch our numbers ourselves. It's insane that they've been able to make it this far, this 9-game winning streak they've been on. We're looking at our Sims % chance for them to win these games dating back to March 12th against Louisville here. Obviously, we had them beating Louisville. Decent chance against Syracuse, 25% chance against Duke. And you look at that UVA semifinals ACC game. The live in-game odds for that probably should have been somewhere under 1% because UVA had a 87% free throw shooter, miss a free throw. Then you get a miracle 3-pointer from NC State. That's just to tie the game and to go into overtime, which is probably a 2% chance of that happening. And then you have to go on and win overtime, which is what we gave them around a 45% chance to do so. So the fact that they made it out of that game is insane. Then you see UNC in the championship. Then we see the run that they've had, of course, through March Madness. So it's just actually insane to see that they've done this. Again, 0.07% chance we had given them to win all 9 of those games. And then it's basically impossible.
I do want to tout the fact that our percentage is 6 times what the odds makers percentage would have been, and maybe 10 times what other people are saying. So we were higher on them, much higher than them than most.
Yeah, exactly. Our 0.077% chance of all this happening is actually way more optimistic than the money line percentages would have implied here through this run. So we were a little higher on them than the rest, but nonetheless, just showing absolutely how insane this miracle run has been for them. So 2 claps for NC State, because my God, that is actually insane. All right, we got a first-time live shower here. Hello, Landon. Welcome to the crew. Feel free to ask any questions you have about tonight, but just had to take a quick look at NC State here because that's pretty fantastic stuff. Got to run the numbers when we can. All right, before we get into the NBA, let's take a look at some baseball with Jake. I'll send you to the chat, Steven, before we get to the association. Let's talk about the MLB here. We'll go over to Ronaldo Lopez. I'm still brushing off the cobwebs. Is this Braves?
Braves. So, yeah, it's a little interesting because he is going against the White Sox, and he was a one-time top White Sox prospect. Just didn't pan out, and then he was a reliever last year, and then now he's the 5th man in the Braves rotation, at least while he deals with some injuries in the start of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles a little and he goes back and to the bullpen, but he was a strikeout machine last year for coming from the pen. He was built up to right around 5 innings in his last couple of spring training starts. We have him, if he goes 5 innings, we have him projected for about 6 strikeouts. So this is plus 100. This is plus money. His numbers weren't great in spring training strikeout-wise, but they were last year. He's probably working on new things. And the White Sox strike out a ton as a team. So I like this number here, plus money.
All right. Like to see it. We'll move on here to another player prop with my Bryce Harper for the Phillies. They are hosting the Reds today.
Yeah, Bryce Harper is 0-for this season. He has 0 hits, but he's due. He is due. We have him projected for 2.6 hits, runs, and RBI. So we love this matchup for him. He's going up against a righty. It's I think it's a good matchup for him as a lefty, and I think he's due for a big game. He also walks a lot, so if he walks several times, he could score runs there that way too.
This is true. Yeah, he is a walker now that I think about it. All right, we'll head over to some money line plays here. We'll start with the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, the Red Sox. it pains me to take them, but it's easy to bet against the Oakland A's, especially after they lost 9-0 to the Red Sox yesterday. The Red Sox are the only team, and I think they're one of two major league teams right now that is 5-0 on the run line this season. So I think they're 3-2 overall, but they're 5-0 on the run line. Perfect 5-0, and it's easy to bet against the A's even there. And Brian Bayo has been pretty good. I don't mind any Brian Bayo props this game as well.
Okay. Nice little sprinkle there. Like to hear it. We'll move into college baseball here. What is it? Tuesday? What are we looking at? Some unders probably?
Tuesday, we're looking for like home underdogs. I know yesterday LSU lost to Southern University. I forget who is in our chat, but I know there is a Southern alum that we have who's a regular chat member, regular audience member of our show. So shout out to the Southern University Jaguars. Great mascot, the Jaguars, I must add. And so that happened yesterday. And today, Mississippi State lost. So there's been some big upsets already in the first couple midweek games. But it's usually unders and spots. You have to pick your spots, unders and home underdogs.
All right. Well, let's look at one of your spots here with Nebraska, Creighton. Oh, Creighton's still a sensitive topic. Don't even like saying the word. Under 15 runs.
I want to say Nebraska's like 20-5 and Creighton's 21-4. So it's two pretty good teams. It's neutral site, I'm pretty sure, but the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing out, which scares me a lot. But the line's up 15, and when two good teams play, the game tends to go under, and both teams have pretty solid bullpens. I wonder what they do if they try to save some arms for the weekend for their bullpen, but it's early enough in the week. It's Tuesday, not Wednesday, that they should have some of their top bullpen arms available.
Mm-hmm. All right, we know unders are a good trend here on Tuesdays, but there are times to pick your overs here. So let's take a look at Kennesaw State Mercer here to go over 13.5.
Yeah, Kennesaw scores a ton of runs. I think most of the games that we have of them in the database this season have gone over. I want to say they won a series against Clemson 2-1, and they scored a ton. Or it was Clemson or Auburn, one of those teams, or it was an ACC or SEC team, and they scored a ton of runs in those games. So I like Kennesaw to score a decent amount of runs, and I think Mercer has the bats as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good stuff there. We'll move on to some money line plays that we like. We'll start with Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State minus 130. Grand Canyon's a really good team. They did lose their coach a couple years ago. Then they lost a bunch of their best players last year at the draft. They don't travel well. They're really good at home. So if they're ever home underdogs, you want to bet Grand Canyon. They don't travel well. I think they're right around 500 on the road this season. Arizona State's been playing well in the Pac-12 the last couple of weekends. They're hot. They have the bats. And I think it's because of travel restrictions, even though that it's a close game for GCU to get to Arizona State being in Phoenix. I think that Arizona State at minus 130 is pretty good value.
GCU is one of those schools, I think during the tournament, a lot of people were saying it too. They just don't feel like a real place. Or a real school.
So, yeah.
You got to say them.
And baseball, in basketball, they have Jerry Colangelo pretty much built their basketball program. They have good coaches, and they pay for all these guys to come who are like once 5 stars because it's pretty much an online school that funnels money to their athletic programs. Exactly. So they get players that you'd like. Why are they going to GCU? And I mean, Phoenix isn't even where the Grand Canyon is. Why is the school called Grand Canyon University in Phoenix? But it's
nothing about it makes sense.
Yeah, it's nothing about GCU makes sense, but they have good athletics and they're fun to watch.
Fair. All right, let's move on to one more college baseball play before we get to the association. We'll go to Campbell. Campbell's, where are they? North Carolina?
Campbell is in North Carolina. That was impressive. Yeah. So this is a run line play at minus 1.5, minus 120. It's a neutral site game against Charlotte and Fayetteville, I'm pretty sure, at the Fayetteville Woodpeckers stadium. I think they're the AAA team for the Astros, but I think there should be plenty of runs scored in this game. And I like Campbell at minus 160 on the money line, but it moved all
Nothing like the in-office Wi-Fi tuning out. Hate to see it.
Yep, the in-office Wi-Fi got me right there, but I like Campbell to put up runs, and I think they should win this game. That's why I went with the run line. I think there's just better value. I don't love the minus 180 money line. And there's a question about Indiana State minus 3.5.
Yes.
I gave it out yesterday at minus 2.5 because I felt like it would move. We have them winning by 2.7 points, so right in line with what I gave out yesterday at 2.5. No value on 3.5. But I mean, we got to ride with our Sycamores, even though they didn't make the tournament.
I know. There's still our Cinderellas in our heart. We're still going to ride with them. Looks like the chat is on Campbell here as well. All right, I see some NBA questions funneling in. I'm going to bring back Steven. I'm going to rip through this slate here. A few games we got value on. Actually, almost all of them, I'd say, right? Yeah, we got props on all of them. Oh, sorry, I muted you, Steven.
Oh,
just
no.
Because I felt.
That's fine. Yeah, talk too much anyway. Where do we want to start?
All right, let's start with Dallas headed to Golden State here. Dallas, basically a pick'em. They were 2-point road favorites, and now it's closer to a pick'em here. But let's go back to the gift that keeps on giving, Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, I mean, he's hitting the criteria that I like, which is a nice stretch of games, but then his last game not so great. So he came in 15, 17, 23, 20, then a 4. Models at 14.8 points, and the line is still available at 12.5. The home split's not great. He has his higher average on the road than he does at home this year. But enters 8-3 again with just 4 his last game. He had 17 points at Dallas relatively recently, 2-0 versus Dallas this season. It would have been a lock last season. And I think that they need his defense, against the perimeter players of Dallas.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good stuff there. I don't think there are any other questions about this game. Gafford's someone I feel like who's been sneakily awesome.
With the stretch where he did miss a shot. Yeah. But,
he almost set the record. He was one shy, I think.
Or like a Will Chamberlain record or something like that.
Will Chamberlain, like 38 of 38 or something like that.
But he hasn't done. He made, so he had a 7 for 7, 5 for 5, 7 for 7, 9 for 9, 5 for 5, then 8 for 11.
Oh,
he
stinks. I didn't even know that. This is getting good vibes from him. All right.
But the last 2 games, he hasn't done much, and he's been turning the ball over a lot. So that's why the other day I had played PJ Washington, which he did hit, I think.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, someone to look out for, I'd say. But I wouldn't take betting advice from me right now because I'm having a very hard time. But
I don't know. I saw your father's helping out, so there you go.
Yeah,
he's got to be so proud.
He's like, what are we doing here with Josh Hart triple-double? I'm like, we're running out of time. We need a miracle here.
You could always just play the Powerball. This is
true. I might be ending up in the Hard Rock on Wednesday night. Just trying my best to make some money here. All right, let's move on. We'll go to the Lakers headed to Toronto. Big road favorites here, about 12.5. We're looking at the spread here. Public steam on the Lakers too.
Yeah, Toronto doesn't have much to play for. I am going with RJ Barrett. Unfortunately, the line was available at 18.5 this morning. It's up to 19.5. Again, 19.5 is what he's averaged for the season, but it's more about what he's done as Toronto. The New York stats was 18.2 average with an 11.15 over. But on Toronto, it's 20.8 with a 19.8 over. He was out for, unfortunately, for personal reasons, but physically he should be fine.
Mm-hmm. All right, good to know there. How about our boy Austin Reeves? He was, when I was doing my triple-double research, he was a little bit tempting. I will not lie.
If you get like plus 3,000.
I think it was about that.
Yeah, we don't have any value probably. We have 27.3 points, rebounds, and assists, and his 27.5 is his number. I don't know if any one of those. If I had to guess, we might have some assist value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's probably a 5.5, I'd assume.
Yeah.
All right, good to know there. We'll head to Milwaukee, going to Washington. These spreads are just so scary to me. Milwaukee headed to Washington here, 13-point road favorites with Lillard out.
Well, this means we'd have Milwaukee as around a 48% favorite against UConn. Apparently, people loved the post that we'd have that. It was, of course, the post that I hate it because it's not the way I think, but no one knows what I'm talking about. Denny Avdia, we had a question about assists. We do like his assists at over 4.5 because he should be playing. He gets a lot, and especially with Kuzma out and Jones out, him and Poole might get the majority of the assists. I'm going with another Avdia bet based on usage and time on court. His blocks and steals, and you get to plus 160. That's actually gone up from plus 155 earlier this morning. Model has a lot of value. The trends aren't going to support the over, but his over's nearly 500 with a higher average at home. I like the buy low spot with 4 straight recent unders, but then broke out of it with 2 last game. It's only 3 games without Kuzma this year, but he had 2 steals and 3 blocks, a block in each of those games, and 38 and 40 minutes in 2 of those 3 games.
Speaking of blocks and steals here, shout out Alex Caruso, who really cashed for us early in that first half. We're back on him. America was on him too. We lost our value. America forgot about him, and we are so back with the plus money, blocks and steals for our boy Caruso.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on here. We'll go to OKC, headed to Philadelphia. Still no Embiid, and we also will not have Jalen Williams in this game.
Yeah, and SGA is listed as a game time decision.
Oh, yeah.
As is, I think, Maxey too, but I'm going to go with Tyrese Maxey. Even though he's a game time decision, I figure he's either going to play a lot of minutes with the ball in his hands a lot, or he's not going to, and I'll just say it won't count. Model has close to 2 turnovers, so you see a much higher home split. Again, that doesn't mean he plays poorly. It just means his ball's in his hand a lot, and he's going to have 2 turnovers, which is not a high number for a point guard. 21-13 over, much higher. Last month, 1.9 with an 8-3 over. And the thing about him is just pattern-wise, I mean, he's streaky in turnovers. So he's had streaks of 5 and 7 straight games with at least 2 turnovers twice in the last since February. So you don't see a lot of going back and forth. You see a lot of streaks, and I'm just thinking that this is going to be another streak of 4 or 5 games. Yeah,
and the ball will be in his hand. Should be for.
And OKC, I believe, leads the league in turnovers forced.
Maybe our boy Josh Giddey. I missed a ton of questions. I forgot totally about that part of my job. So let's head back to the Milwaukee game. A lot of questions about Middleton here.
We don't have value on his overs, and it's always scary to bet unders. He has been shooting. Well, he shot well his last game, but other than that, he was kind of cold. Was there a particular line that people are interested in? His assist line
his
could be
rebounds are 5.5, and his rebounds and assists are 12.
Yeah, we don't have value on that because we're not reflecting. We do weight recent games more when we're trying to do a projection, but not this much more. So his recent output, where he's been getting like 7 of both, and he had a triple double the other day, isn't being reflected. This could be a blowout. Middleton has dealt with injuries for the last 3 seasons, so he's not a player likely to stay in the game if they're up big.
Yeah, what I've learned from the past week is these blowout games are not worth putting a lot of coin on because some guys are sitting through the entire fourth quarter, like Dennis Schroeder. But I'm not butthurt about it. I just had to throw that one out there. Yeah. We got some word from Jessica. SGA is out, she believes, so that could be good for other OKC props. We've seen that benefit.
Giddy time. If you can get Giddy under 28, under 29, under 30 points, rebounds, and assists, maybe it'd be good. But they weren't posting Giddy earlier. Earlier it was just SGA and Tyrese Maxey being posted on the books just 2 hours ago.
All right. Well, we'll keep our eye on that. Let's head over to New York, coming down to South Florida here. Miami, 2.5 point home favorites. This is where I will be playing Josh Hart triple-double. That is as far as I'll explain that play. Go ahead to Twitter. My dad seems to know about that play as well.
Look, we under-project him because I just can't imagine someone keep playing 48 minutes, but he is. So if he continues that 45-minute play, you got to almost bump up the projected numbers, 1.5 points, 1.5 rebounds, and 1 assist there.
I mean, you're right. He recently is averaging basically a double-double and then 8.5 assists. That's not – and guess what? Now it's down to plus 750. It was plus 1,900. Oh, wow.
So people are really hammering that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Take credit for it.
Yeah, that's me.
The line.
The Brooksies are moving lines on FanDuel.
But so the model, we have A-rated value on Sportsline, which we've done very well for the last 3 seasons, really. Well, for a lot of seasons, with plus 20 units a season usually. But we have A-rated value on the over and the money line for New York because the team total for New York, we have it's down to 101.5 last time I checked. Models at 110. Extremely high road trend and recently the Knicks have been scoring at a pretty good clip. They average 4 more points on the road actually than home, and they shoot a higher 3-point percentage on the road. Conversely, Miami, great defensive reputation, maybe in the playoffs will be a great playoff team, but at home they've allowed nearly 5 more at home, and they allow 2% higher 3-point shooting at home. And visiting teams have gone over this number 30-6 this year. So I think we don't need 61 from Brunson, but I'll take 40.
Yeah. How do we feel about Bam here over 3.5 assists?
We always project over for Bam's assist, but then he rarely delivers. But he's been 5, 9, and 5 his last 3 games. It looks like they're putting the ball more in his hands, because for a while they're rotating whether Rozier was a point guard or a spot up shooter. Butler would become this like point forward. So right now they're all balanced. All those guys are getting 4 or 5. So I think the model has value based on 3.6.
We love a Bam assist. We love a center assist. Josh Hart back to plus 1,500. Someone must have put a crazy, it was at plus 750.
There's big discrepancies depending on the sports book.
But it was
Hard Rock.
I guess you're right. I guess that was FanDuel. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. I see a Sabonis question. We will get to him. But let's talk about first. We'll go in order. We'll talk about Houston, Minnesota first, with some decent steam to Houston.
Yeah, Houston, before dropping their last 2, whatever cover machine, I was like 12 of 13 they covered. But models are actually on Minnesota, because Minnesota's strong defensive metrics at home. So that's why Minnesota in the under is the model play. I'm going to go with Fred VanVleet over 3.5 rebounds. You can get 2.5 at like a minus 160, I think. I'm going to be bold enough to get the 3.5, because 3.5 is less than his season average, and it's plus money. So at this point of the year, 70 plus games in, I like those when being offered that. Solid road split. The over is over 50% on the road, higher average on the road. I like there's a buy low opportunity where it's one of his last 6 over. So he's due. Other point guards who rebound at a similar rate, 3.5 to 4. They average 4 rebounds with a 4 and 2 over at Minnesota versus just 3.2 versus Minnesota at home. Don't know why. Don't care, as long as the numbers are in my favor.
Fair, like a buy low spot. Jared asking if you should put the mortgage on Josh Hart triple double tonight. I mean, it can be a squad ride. We can all be in this together. It's fun that way. Come on, guys. Looks like the chat's pumped up about it.
How about the kids' college fund, not the mortgage? You got to live. The kids can always get a scholarship.
Yeah, the kids can figure it out. Don't worry about the kids.
You got plenty of time for that.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. Cleveland headed to Utah. Steve to Cleveland here. Utah seems to have just given up on the season. Donovan Mitchell has been ruled out.
Yeah, but it went back. It went to Cleveland. Now it's swung back 2 points. With the Mitchell being out, moved like 3 points back to Utah.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, with Mitchell out, does that make us like any Cavs player props a little more?
I liked Niang maybe, but his number came in pretty high. So no longer. With Strus back, I don't think Niang's getting the kind of run that he was getting before. So we don't have anything on the Cavs. So I'm going to go this guy who burned me a month and a half ago. And, I guess my S list has an expiration date. 10.5 points and assists. His assist line's like a half at minus 190, and we have like 1 assist projected. So I thought I'd toss it in there to get this plus money bet. There's no trends that I can support this guy. This guy's a rookie who didn't play much to start the season. But the point is, Markkanen's out for the season, and Collins is out tonight. Collins and Markkanen were out the last game, and that last game he had 18 points and 1 assist. So at this point, with Utah not having to play, the one thing you want to do is see what your rookies got. So some of the younger players, should get all the run they need, and they're not going to sit if they're getting killed. So I kind of think this is a spot where he could have another game like he did yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, coming off the S list, that's a pretty big deal tonight. This is a big night for Hendricks. He has no idea.
And even though he had a lot of unders, they were near over, he was getting close to this number.
Right.
So, so just the combination of getting 30 minutes and 10 field goal attempts is what we're talking about.
All right. If anyone else is on the Josh Hart triple-double train. We got some word that if you build it manually on DK, probably could get better odds than what DK would offer with the triple-double, potentially, if you're going all alt lines, I guess. All right, good to know. The more you know.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We'll go to San Antonio, headed to Denver here. We're going to Wemby, not blocks and steals, just steals here. I bet his blocks and steals are what? 5.5?
His block number has gone up so wildly high for justifiable reasons. There's no value on the blocks, so I'll just stick with the steals. And again, no trends backing me. The road is average is lower. The over is only 7-23, but he has 6 steals his last 2 games, and he's played 2 games against Denver, and he's averaged 4 steals. So that's enough. We've seen very recent sample size. And what he did against Denver in his 2 career games, maybe there's something about Jokic and being the primary ball handler for Denver and, getting opportunities there.
Yeah, fair enough. Can we take a look at the model here for this game? Got some questions on the Joker, over 26.5 points here.
We have 28.5. So yeah, I think that's a good one.
I would love to take his triple double. However, it's probably like minus 115. So that's really just not on the cards for me right now. We need something big.
Yeah, I think Denver, even though Denver clobbered Cleveland in the last game, they had 2 bad losses at home to Western Conference contenders. So I think that they're not going to take things lightly.
Maybe I should buy a ticket to this game and drive down to Miami with Jake. I know he's about it. That would be a way better sweat when I cash this Josh Hart triple-double if I'm in the arena.
Yeah. Jokic plus 175, bet MGM.
All right. Don't hate that.
Lock.
Yeah.
Lock it up.
Lock. We need a lock button.
Yeah, that's easy.
All right. We got, one more game to get through here.
Yeah.
Here we go. Clippers head to Sacramento. We'll take a look at Sabonis here. Any triple-double value?
The double-double is a lock, right? So, and we usually have him projected around 8.5 assists, which translates to around a 40% chance. So if you consider it a 90% chance to get the points and rebounds, then, it ends up being around a 36 to 40% chance. And so it depends what the price is. Is it plus 160?
It's right around the same price. About
plus 150?
180.
180, I'd love it. Yeah, I love it at 180 because we're expecting a higher scoring game. Sacramento plays high scoring games. And specifically, I'm actually, because of Sabonis, so I'm going with Zubac on the other side in points and assists. This was plus 100 this morning, so looks like there's a lot of action on the over. Now it's up to pretty steep minus 130. You got a strong overall season trend, plus money on a line that's less than a season average again. You can buy low value on his last month, which is only 6-10 over, but his average is still higher than 11.5. And other centers who average 10 to 14, they are 10-8 over with a 14.6 average versus Sacramento. So Sabonis, as great as he is as a rebounder, isn't a great defender. And I guess centers get, 1 or 2 assists and score 11 points a lot.
Yeah, this is true. I saw some questions about Hachimura. If we want to go back to the Lakers, his points prop, Jared bringing up, it's great analysis, Jared, talking about how Toronto not really playing defense, probably still getting out-rebounded here, but that's beside the point. If we had any value on him.
I don't think so, but, again, if there is a blowout value, the reason why, the Lakers overall this season have bad road splits, so the model rarely has this much of a spread. But if there's a high blowout chance, then maybe that's an opportunity for Hachimura to get more numbers. You're not popping up on my thingamajobber here. So I think I pressed the wrong button. Entered the wrong information. Hold on.
Live behind the scenes, kids. This is what happens.
Rui Hachimura. Let's see. We have a lot of unders, but again, I wouldn't put much stock in that given we're projecting under for the game. And we're projecting normal minutes for LeBron.
Yeah, take that with a grain of salt. And Derek always has the injury updates and lineup updates on Twitter as well. So make sure you're following him. We'll take a look at the recap screen. Plenty of player props to get through tonight, as well as some college baseball and college basketball. We were on our beloved Indiana State Sycamores minus the 2.5 earlier. Don't think you can find the 2.5 anymore. Would we play this at 3, Jake? 3.5? Or
I'd play it at 3, but I'll tell you the best price right now. It is best price. You still get -2.5 in some places. But that doesn't look like it's not like a major book. Yeah, it's even 4 in some places. So I'd still play it just cause, but maybe parlay it with something on the money line because we don't have model value on it. But I still like it. Got to ride with the Sycamores.
Yeah,
that's why I gave it out yesterday because I knew I think 70% of the public was on them yesterday and they hadn't moved yet. So I gave it a 2.5. Then today it's 3.5, 4. So hopefully you guys were watching yesterday, got better value.
Yes. All right, and that is all we have time for today. But yeah, tune in every day. That's how you get the best value here. Hopefully tomorrow when I see you guys, I will be up a lot of money and have a plane ticket to Phoenix. So with that, good luck with all of your bets tonight. Reach out to us on Twitter with any questions. We'll see you guys tomorrow.